W.F. Howes presents an unabridged recording of A Fiancée's Guide to First Wives and Murder by Dianne Freeman, narrated by Karen Cass. Chapter 1. November 1899. Life has an unerring way of balancing good and bad, rather like math. For every positive, there's a negative. For every gain, a loss. For every plus, a minus. The plus on this occasion was that my mother, who'd been living in my house since my sister's wedding last month, was about to leave for a holiday in Paris. Huzzah! Dare I hope peace would reign in my household once more. During her stay, she'd disrupted our lives with a constant critique of everything, from the staff, the decor of her room, and the newspapers I took, to things that were entirely out of my control, like the weather. As I shivered on the wet pavement beside her hired carriage, enveloped by the damp air of a typical November morning in London, I could hardly fault her for that one. A ray of sunlight broke through, at least in my mind, as my 8-year-old daughter Rose skipped down the walk to the carriage, her dark curls bouncing against her shoulders. Nanny followed in a more sedate manner. She, too, had had just about all she could stand of Mother's interference, particularly with Rose's routine. Nanny set specific times for meals, lessons, recreation, and sleep. Despite my insistence she adhere to Nanny's schedule, Mother had one of her own. Whenever she was in want of company, Rose should be made available. My daughter loved it. Nanny did not. I wasn't exempt from my mother's judgment either. Still, not only had she brought me into the world, but she'd also saved my life just a few short weeks ago, so I felt I owed her some degree of latitude. Rose kissed Aunt Hetty, then came to me for one last hug before the groom handed her up into the carriage. She settled in next to my mother, fairly humming with excitement. That was the minus in this otherwise favorable equation. Rose was leaving too. The groom closed the carriage door, and I leaned through the open window. "Mind your grandmother, Rose." I turned to my mother. "And you don't give in to her every whim." This was a definite possibility, as the only person safe from my mother's criticism was Rose. In her mind, Rose could do no wrong, which led my imagination to run rampant about their week ahead.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?